Welcome into SportsZone All Access here on this Wednesday, February the 18th. Already cruising through the month that is February. We have just 10 days left in February, and then it's March, and we know what happens in March in the sports department.
No sleep, that's for sure.
No, we don't sleep till April. Isn't that the saying or something like that?
Or May, whatever works.
I don't know. We got a lot coming up. High school basketball playoffs start next week. NSIC is next weekend with state wrestling. Then you have Summit League tournament, more high school playoffs, the Mason Cup playoffs for the CCHA, and Augustana looking like they're in the thick of that this year.
We're booked and busy.
Booked and busy. That's what we are. Today we got a lot of things we're going to do for you. We'll talk top plays. We'll look back at high school recaps from last night. It was a busy night in high school hoops. Then we'll also preview the SDSU men who will play tonight, big game against NDSU. And then we will talk about the Twins and the bad news that they just had, because if you're a Twins fan, the bad news just continues to pile up all the time. So, we will play the heartstrings of Twins fans in just a little bit. But as we mentioned, let's start with top plays. Honorable mention this week, it's a dog. I don't think we've ever put a dog on top plays before, but there's always a first for anything.
3 weeks, so it's okay.
It was something I used to do when I was in the web department. I did it every week for like a couple of years.
Okay.
And now, here we go, new thing, Simon the Wiener Dog wins here on SportsZone All Access. Wins the races, now on SportsZone All Access is an honorable mention top play. We had some conversation with this with Ian and I, because watch Simon, he comes in racing from the side here, right there in the front, and he stops. And I'm like, Ian, he didn't get to the line. He didn't win. The crowd booed thinking that line was it. Well, no, if you watch again here, let's see if I can slow it down, even get a stop in here, break down the film. So you can see the middle line is at the top of the screen, right between these two people. There's a little faint red line there.
Mm-hmm.
That is the middle line, which is the finish line. The tape is where you're not allowed to cross if you're one of the owners. And so, the middle line. And so later the Stampede and the in-house crew showed the video and said, hey, this is the finish line. And Ian's like, the whole crowd then was like, oh.
Yeah, a little misleading. You need it like in football when you watch it on TV, the big yellow line that shows the first down. Mm-hmm. That's what we needed here. But maybe next year.
Sure. Well, congratulations to Simon, who not only wins the race, which at the moment didn't mean anything to him. It was just him running up and down ice. And then he gets the trophy full of dog treats. And now everything's good. And he dropped on the other. So hopefully they don't eat that. But there you go. Honorable mention. Why not have some wiener dogs in there? Let's talk top plays. Top number 5, Kaylee Croddock from Sioux Valley converts at the buzzer here. She had 3 fouls in the first half, sat the majority of the second quarter, then comes in with 0.9 seconds left, and Coach Grantham says, let's do it. Let's throw her in there. She's our best player, USD commit. If anyone can score in 0.9 seconds, it'll be Kaylee, and she did with great defense. Give Jersey Schultz some credit for Del Rapids. She's all over her, and you see her at the end, she kind of flips her hands and swats at the ball a little bit and goes, how? Like, what more do you want me to do? That's good defense. Unfortunately, it was only good enough to not stop her. It was good defense. It was.
I mean, pure athleticism from Craddock on that play. I mean, watching it again, you see all of the different components come together, right? She doesn't have a lot of time, but she also needs to be relatively accurate in where she's putting the ball in a really quick amount of time while she's being defended really well. So credit to her, makes an exciting play and definitely promising for her career with the Coyotes.
Yeah, she's a junior, verbal commit there. USD had a coach in the house, kind of talked to her after the game, was watching her, and got to see her play well. First half, she got in foul trouble. Second half, she was a machine. Took over, hit some threes, put up over 20 points. She can shoot it, too. She can step out and hit that shot, and I think USD will be certainly happy to have Kaylee Croddock joining her very soon. Well, in a couple years anyway. Mm-hmm. Let's talk number 4 play of the week, SDSU, and it's not one play, it's several plays. Emily Fox hit a 3 right there, 1 of 7. She was 7 of 9 from the field, over 70% from three-point land. From the field, 9 of 12, that's 75%. and scored 26 points in the win for SDSU. They led 32-10 after the first quarter. She had 7 of those 32, went on to put up a season high, career high 26 in the Jackrabbits' dominant win over Kansas City.
Yowza. I mean, when the Jackrabbits get hot from three, whether it be one or multiple, watch out. That is a dangerous team to play against. Now, we haven't seen it a ton this season,
Right.
but in the games that we have, it has been a scary sight. And I think if the Jackrabbits are able to ignite that pattern down the stretch and into the Summit League tournament, it might cause some disruption.
Well, and here's the thing. Brooklyn Meyer's going to get hers. Madison Mathewit's going to get hers, right? So they need somebody else to knock down shots because people will double team Meyer. They'll try to take away Mathewitz.
The USD game is a perfect example of that.
Well, and the USD game was a little bit different. USD did the opposite where they said Brooklyn Meyer can go off. She had 27 game-high points, but they said we want to shut down everybody else because when it's everybody else that gets hot is when they're hard to beat. Case in point, this game, look at Emily Fox. She got hot. Mathewitz had a good game. Meyer was their 4th leading scorer in this game, and they put up over 90 points.
Exactly.
So, you know, that's the thing. It's the surround. You know, Meyer's going to score. The question
There's no secret about that.
everyone around her going to do it? And if they do, that's when SDSU is maybe the best team in the conference. But it's when those, younger, not as experienced girls that they need to step up struggle that when they struggle.
A night for Emily Fox, and I think a great momentum and confidence boosters for the Jackrabbits as a whole as they adjust to teams letting Brooklyn Meyer play her game and trying to take out every other option. So definitely a good thing to happen at this point in the season.
Yeah, and I think these were different games. I think USD said, Meyer, go score. We don't care. We're going to shut down everyone else. I think Kansas City said, Meyer, we're going to take you away as best we can. And they did. She was the 4th leading scorer, but then they left Emily Fox open. And she did her thing. Cannot leave the Mount Vernon Plankinton standout alone. She knocks down some shots. Number 3, should we just make it permanent? Every week have a spot for Cameron Fens. I mean, this is our 3rd week of doing top plays. He's been in every one because a big-time slam from a big guy is pretty much a guaranteed top play. And here's Cam Fens rocking the rim, trying to break it off.
I mean, it doesn't matter if the Coyotes are down 10. If Fens has an opportunity to go for the slam dunk, he's gonna do it. I legitimately and confidently think that every time I've been at a USD game to shoot, which midweek it usually is me going to Vermilion to shoot those games, I'm getting at least 1 to 2 Cam Fens dunks, and that's what you see right there.
Makes for an easy one. And, they love him, right? Because Cam Fens, big guy. I mean, I think he really is a captain on this team. I think a lot of people follow him. Okay, here's this gigantic human being destroying the rim once or twice every game. It fires up the team.
It gives
really
some energy
does.
to the bench and to the guys on the floor that, were able to create some openings maybe where they hadn't earlier or, continue to drive that lane and make it work. And he does a good job of that.
Yes, he does. Number 2, Sam Wrench. Boom, big 3. He had a couple of gigantic threes late in the game against Minnesota State last week in their win over the Mavericks. It was their 9th straight win. Now, they would go on to lose to a really good St. Cloud State team on Saturday and lose that win streak. But, hey, at the time, they had 9 straight wins, and it was because of clutch Sam Wrench, who went on to score a season-high 30 in the win over Minnesota State.
He was all over the floor.
Yeah.
All over the floor. And we just watched the slow down version. We'll see it quick and then slow down again here in a second. But his catch and release was on point in this game particularly. I think that's what helped a lot of his shots fall. But not even just this bucket on its own, he was quick and accurate for the entirety of the game. And that helped out the Vikings a ton in terms of pulling away.
Yeah, 12 of 17 from the field, 4 for 8 from 3. And then you turn around. He is a big reason that they win. Then they lost to St. Cloud State because he got in foul trouble. Only played 21 minutes, which is one of his season lows. It's not his lowest, but one of them against St. Cloud State, and only scored 5 points on Saturday's loss because he got in foul trouble. So he comes as this offense comes, and he had a great game, 30 points in the win over Minnesota State. They won the game. So
fans in the Elman Center knew it too. They get
they
loud
know
and
what he
rowdy
does.
when he knocks down some buckets.
Number one play of the week. Here it is. A Cole Thiab. Oh boy. Look out below. There's got to be a little credit here to DeAndre Painter when we watch the replay. Watch this. Backdoor, slide the pass. Excellent. Pick and roll right there. That is how you run the pick and roll to a T. Thiab, man, he could jump out of the gym, I think. And he throws it down. Part of a little momentum that the Rough Riders had in the second quarter. Unfortunately, Lincoln, though, as good as they are, they know how to squash momentum like a bug. And they did at several times in the game. Held on for a 12-point win over the number 2 team. But still, got to come away with the top play of the week.
Could not include this play despite the loss for the Rough Riders. The second quarter, I would say, was probably the best quarter entirely that they played all game. And thanks in part to guys like DeAndre Painter and Thiab, who came off the bench and created some jolts of energy for Roosevelt on the floor there.
Yeah, I got stuck there with the could not.
Yeah, sorry. Just today's not my day for words.
Anyway, whatever.
Some days are harder to talk than others.
That was fun, though. All right, there's top plays of the week. Summit League, big game tonight. SDSU, NDSU. The Jackrabbit men are just trying to find some consistency. And, hey, here's the number 1 team in the conference. We'll talk that and some high school hoops when we come back to Sports Zone All Access. Welcome back to Sports Zone All Access. Top plays done, out of the way. Took over half of our show. That's kind of the fun part, to kind of break down the top plays of the week. Now let's dive into a big game tonight. SDSU and NDSU, the top team in the Summit League versus the 7th team in the Summit League. And Kelsey, this is a big game for SDSU because, they just have not been piling up good basketball lately. And they did put together 2 really good halves against a struggling Oral Roberts team, albeit whatever. They still found a way to play good basketball for the first time in a while, and I think they want to build on that, win or lose tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. There's 2 ways I see this going. I see the Jackrabbits meeting the moment. They're playing at home in Brookings, which they naturally play better on their home floor, and giving the Bison a contest with the best basketball that they can string together. In some of the better moments that we've seen this year, we know this team is capable of playing good basketball. Right. It's just a matter of playing good basketball for 60 minutes, or the Bison get out and
do their
SDSU
thing.
Can't catch up, can't keep up. And I think it could go either way. Obviously, you hope for a more exciting game just for entertainment's sake, in a good basketball game, but
last time they played up in Fargo, and NDSU got up to a big lead early, double digits, and SDSU played them pretty even from there. Closed it to single digits a few times. They just could never get over the hump, ended up losing by 11.
Well, and you think back to USD playing NDSU at home. That was a great game. That was a close game. At the end, the Bison only won that game in overtime.
Even though they had a fast start in that game.
And that's not necessarily a performance we expected out of the Coyotes. Now, the Coyotes beat SDSU and Brookings by 1. Again, something that USD hadn't been able to do in a really long time. And so meeting the moment sounds like something that the Jackrabbits are capable of. We just won't know until tip-off.
We won't know. And it depends upon how good those Bison are playing, because they are a good basketball team. Here's what Brian Peterson had to say about the contest.
They're playing good basketball. They've played really well all year, and so they're coming into our place. We battled them up there pretty good in Fargo. Never quite got over the hump, but I thought this game's always fun to play in, whether it's up in Fargo or here in Brookings. And so we're just really looking forward to that opportunity, and our guys are too as well.
Yeah, they're looking forward to the game. It's a big one tonight, 7 o'clock. We'll have highlights coming up tonight on KELOLAND Sports at 10. Let's talk some high school hoops from a busy Tuesday night. 3 games that we're going to talk about here. Starting off with Lincoln, who used an 11-0 run. It was 9-7 in the first quarter. Sam Erickson had 9 points in the first quarter, including one of these threes. Ended up being a game-high 15 for him on 5 3-pointers. We already saw this dunk. Yeah, that's pretty.
Beautiful.
But that 11-0 run to end the first quarter ended up being the difference. They won by 12 points, and they kind of kept it at arm's reach the majority of the game. Roosevelt got it down to 6 in the third, but that's as close as they got just because this Lincoln team showed a lot of depth. They didn't really have one guy go off. They had a guy for 15 and a guy for 13. It was kind of a balanced win for them.
It was a much more balanced win than I expected, to be honest. I mean, in pregame, we spoke a lot about Sam DeGroat and how vital he has been to the team this year. And I honestly thought he was going to get hot at some point in the night and just completely take over. And that never really happened. He had 13 points or so on the night and played well, but the Pats were able to go to a couple different options that maybe they don't necessarily see all the time, and it ended up working out in their favor.
Yeah, it did. And he still made his plays. He still had some big shots down the stretch, but Erickson knocked down some threes. Brody Schaefer added some points. Owen Duffy added some points. It was just a balanced win, and I think that's when Lincoln is dangerous because their defense is really good. They held Roosevelt under 50 points last night,
and
which has not happened much.
A lot of turnovers. Yeah,
they're good, and that's what makes Lincoln dangerous. They have that offense and that defense. Let's talk about Brandon Valley.
Woo!
Whoa, what are the Lynx doing? They're throwing everybody off. We think, okay, T's a pretty good team, right?
Number 3.
They're number 3 ranked team in the state. They're pretty good. And then Brandon Valley comes to town. T comes to Brandon Valley, and the Lynx just pummel them 62-33. They just destroyed them, leading by 20 in the second half, keep ballooning it up to a 29-point win. And all of a sudden, you got to remember, hey, Brandon Valley's a team we better keep an eye out for.
It's a great reminder to, especially these ranked teams, to come down to earth for a second. Make sure you've got 10 toes on the ground, and everybody's beatable. And that becomes very apparent in postseason play, especially when we start to see some upsets happen. But it honestly maybe could be a blessing in disguise for T for this to happen at this point in the season, because now they get to have that humbling moment a little bit sooner
before the playoffs
and before it's do or die and seasons end and basketball careers end, when you have seniors who aren't going on to play in college and play in their last competitive basketball game.
I think there's a reminder too, though. Brandon Valley, defending state champs, they've had a down year, but they still got some players. They can still get hot, and they got really hot in the second half against T area. Let's talk our final game, the O'Gorman girls. You don't see many win streaks like this, especially this time of year, but they have won 17 in a row. They got blown out by Brandon Valley, game 1 of the year, and they didn't get frustrated from that. They turned that into fuel, 17 straight, and another absolute dominant win, cruising past Harrisburg. They scored the first 9 points of the game and really never looked back on their way to the final score victory of, I got it right here, 81-29, a 52-point win.
O'Gorman has been such a fun team to watch. They're another team that has a lot more depth than I think we expected. We knew that there were some key players here coming back this season, but they also lost a lot of talent, and so it was a question as to if they were going to be as dominant, and they have certainly lived up to that test.
Yeah, Ruby Moore, big part of that. She had another big night. She's been fantastic this season for the Knights. Well, we're going to talk about some bad news for the Twins. We'll have that next. Welcome back to SportsZone All Access. Now, Twins fans, horrible year last year, traded a ton of pieces, some that didn't even make sense, like oh man, Louis Varland. I couldn't think of his name.
Speak your truth.
And the reason I say that with Louis Varland, he had 5 years of team control, and they traded him. I mean, it was not good. The ownership is a joke. The new coach, Derek Shelton, a great guy. I don't think he's got any chance in the world. I think he's getting dealt on awful hand at the poker table. He's got no chance. But punch the Twins while they're down. Pablo Lopez, their best pitcher, probably the most important player on their team, pitching in what they call live batting practice, which is essentially a good bullpen session for them. Every team does it. Every single team does it. And elbow soreness. Okay, they stopped him. They shut him down. They do some MRIs, and it is significant tearing to his UCL. Tommy John surgery is most likely expected. We all know that's year over. Done, gone, see you later. No Pablo, no hope for the Twins this year. Like there was much. It just took the 0.1% chance out of it. And to make it worse, okay, let's say there is technically a chance he can come back from this.
He also is getting a second opinion.
There is a chance it could heal itself, and he just sits on the shelf for 2 months.
Right. But
knowing the Twins' luck right now.
Most likely the outcome of this scenario is he will require surgery, which is a bummer for
one good news
the
I
Twins.
said is, they have this new pay to watch the thing. The MLB put what works with the Twins.
Right.
You pay like $100 for the whole season. I said the good news, it happened before the season started, so I don't have to pay for it because they're not going to be good. They're going to be terrible. They're just going to be terrible. And like I was talking to Jay Trobeck, big Twins fan. We talk about Minnesota sports all the time, and he goes, the worst part is I think the Twins were fully planning on saying, "Oh, we're not good. Let's trade Pablo at the trade deadline." For a massive deal because he's a great pitcher. He's young. He's got a bright future. There goes that.
Nope.
Everything bad for the Twins. I'm a Twins fan. That was my little rant. Kelsey just kind of rolled along with that one. But that was kind of fun.
Gave some clarifications.
That was kind of fun. It was good for you to clarify because I was talking out of straight disregard there. So. All right, we're going to wrap up the show. Tell you what to expect. Coming up next. Welcome back, SportsZone All Access. We do not have much time, so let's wrap up with what's coming up tonight on KELOLAND Sports. First, we'll have the impact of playing multiple sports as a youth athlete. So Kelsey has that story coming up for us. Will be a good story coming up tonight at 10. Highlights from that big Summit League game, SDSU and NDSU, and then USF playing Wayne State in a doubleheader. Well, that'll do it for us. Thanks for joining us on All Access. We'll see you back here on Thursday.
Bye, guys.